These are the plaintiffs Danielle Thomason and Max Santonastasso. Danielle says the defendant falsely advertised a motorcycle as working. Her son Max bought it, and when they got it home, they discovered the engine was full of bird seed. The woman should be very ashamed of herself for fooling a minor. Her son's very upset, and now all they have is a hunk of junk in their garage. They're suing for $2,100, the amount they paid for the motorcycle. This is the defendant, Mary Womack. She says the plaintiff Max and his brother came over, started the bike, inspected it, fell in love with it, and bought it. Next day, Max calls and says he's in big trouble at home for buying the bike and asked her to take it back. Well, she's sorry, but a sale is a sale, and she doesn't owe anyone anything. She's accused of cycling her way to a lawsuit.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiffs say the defendant defrauded them, that they said that the chopper they were buying worked fine, but the defendant filled the engine up with birdseed. The defendant says the plaintiffs inspected the motorcycle, so tough. It's the case of giving a buyer the bird.
All right. Danielle Thomason and Max Santonastasso. Okay. You're suing Mary Womack for $2,100, the amount that you paid for a motorcycle that you want refunded to you because it's a lemon, I guess. Talk to me. Tell me what's happening. Oh, my God. You're a baby, and that's your son?
Yes.
Okay. How old are you?
17.
All right. What happened?
Well, we purchased the motorcycle and...
Who's we?
My brother and I.
How old's your brother?
23.
23. Is that your son, too?
It is.
Okay.
Max purchased the motorcycle. They went together.
Okay. How did you find the motorcycle?
Craigslist.
All right. And what happened?
She started it for us, and everything looked fine. We bought it. We brought it home.
You had agreed to buy it before even seeing it, right?
Well, we came down to look at it.
And then bought it?
Yeah, and bought it.
Now, you had negotiated the price before heading out there because it was quite a bit of distance?
Yes.
How far away?
About an hour and a half drive.
How old are you?
17.
All right. Who is the motorcycle for?
Me.
How does it work? Do you have to have a license for that? Specific license?
I have a license for motorcycle.
For motorcycles? All right. Mom, how do you feel about him driving motorcycles?
I'm okay with him. He's driving a motorcycle. He's a good driver. He took a safety course.
How about the idiot who hits him? How do you feel about that? All right. Lots of motorcycle riders out there. You're one of them. And do you wear a helmet?
Yes.
Okay. So you head over there. It's 2 hours away, and you meet him and the 23-year-old.
Yes.
Now, but you've been corresponding with him.
Yes.
He's emailed you how many times?
Several. I have them here if you'd like to see them.
Mm-hmm. And so he looks young. Doesn't he look young to you?
Yeah.
Right. Did you ever ask him how old are you?
Well, my daughter was there for a moment, and she asked him how old he was because she said he looked young as well.
And what did he say?
He said he was 17.
All right. This is a motorcycle that you're selling for $2,100. Had you had any problems with it?
No.
How long had you had it?
I bought it in 2001.
What condition was the motorcycle in?
Great.
Did you, by the way, did you test drive the motorcycle?
No.
How come?
She wouldn't let me.
Well, then don't buy it.
Nah, I know.
Why did you not let them test drive it?
Well, it was like I told him, if he took the bike out and he dropped it, I wouldn't have a bike to sell. But I didn't find that to be unusual because...
Was the bike insured? Or no longer?
No, no longer. I had taken it off to put on my next bike.
Okay. So you don't test drive it, you buy it, and you don't ride it the 2 hours home, right?
No, we towed it home.
And then what? And towed it, you put it in the back of a truck, right?
Yes.
And then what happens when you get home?
We started, I said, I'm going to drive it. And
Did you start it at all at her house?
We started it, yes.
Right.
So we started it. Well, when we got home, the battery was there. We had to charge it and then started it, the choke on. And then once it was warmed up, you turn it off. It wouldn't run without the choke on. So you couldn't drive it.
Now, Mom, you get involved. You get involved or your husband gets involved?
My husband got involved. He did send an affidavit.
All right. And your husband, how long has he been around the boys?
6 years.
Okay. So he gets involved in what happens?
He started going through the bike with
the
Max.
affidavit, please?
Talking with Max about, I think they checked the oil first, in which he realized that the stick that he took out of the bike was dry. So they put oil in it right away. And then he started lecturing Max about purchasing a motorcycle without checking the oil. And
Well, he brought your other son there. What good was he either? Hey, Max
he
is only
lectured both of
17.
them.
What's the other boy's excuse?
he lectured both of them. But it was late. It was almost 11 o'clock. We have work. He has school. So we said we'd deal with it the next day. He would have to call her. I didn't want him calling her at 11 o'clock at night. So
What were you going to call her and say?
we were going to call and say that at this point we knew the bike wouldn't drive. So the bike won't drive, it has no oil in it. At this point, we're thinking it's just she hadn't taken care of it. And he paid well over book value, almost $500.
Did you know that he was going to pay that much?
I didn't know anything about this motorcycle till I called him at 8:30 at night to say, where are you? And he tells me he's in Connecticut with his brother looking at a motorcycle. He hadn't purchased it yet.
Oh, my goodness.
And so he
Whose
came.
money did he use to buy the motorcycle?
His
His
own.
own. Okay, go ahead.
He has a job. So he came home from school and called her right away and tried asking her some questions about
Well,
it.
you called her and asked her what?
I told her the problems I had. I asked her, you experiencing these problems? She said no. And so we got back to her later that night. But
By we, you mean your husband?
Well, my husband then found the owner's manual and started going through the bike. And that's when he pulled the air filter out and found the bird seed.
Bird seed, because that would be actual sabotage, right?
That's what we thought at first, but we actually have spoken to a couple of repair shops.
Yeah.
And I guess it's, he wrote down on this mouse nests. I guess it's quite common that on bikes that are not used and she hadn't used it since October.
So you have an enemy mouse? Is that what you mean? That the mouse just starts to use the empty?
Apparently they use it to store food and then they'll forget about it.
Oh my goodness. That's a little gross.
So would you ever allow a 17-year-old to buy a motorcycle? What do you think?
Yes, I would.
Why?
Because it's their choice on what they want to do.
Is it really their choice?
It's not their choice. They're not smart enough at that age to know how dangerous they are.
How old? What's the minimum age?
30.
Interesting. Interesting. Going inside the courtroom.
Is there a bill of sale for this transaction?
Yes.
Okay, let me hear your side of this.
Okay, well, I posted an ad on Craigslist. I had a motorcycle I wanted to sell.
How long had it been since you wrote it?
I wrote it I believe it was in November. I went to make sure I put gas in it. I wanted to fill it up.
Okay, and why was there no oil in it?
There was oil in it.
Did you have any concerns about selling your motorcycle to a 17-year-old boy?
I did know that he was 17, but I also know that he's there with his 23-year-old brother.
Mm-hmm.
They were both talking to me about how he had owned a bike prior to, and he was in the market for another one, and I didn't see anything wrong with it.
Right. I don't see anything morally wrong with it. I mean, his mother knows he's in the market for a bike. He's traveling, 2 hours away with his brother to get a bike. He's not doing something illegal. I don't see anything morally wrong with it. The problem is your own protection. And this is why. Virtually every state has laws about how old someone has to be to get into a binding contract. In your state of Connecticut, the law is that under 18 and it's voidable. That means if he wants to say, do-over, he can. And he is. That's why when you sell something, you don't want to sell it to a 17-year-old child. You want to say to him, you know what? Your brother's going to have to buy the bike and he can transfer it into your name, but I'm selling it to the adult in the group because I'm not going to enter into a contract with a 17-year-old because it's going to be unenforceable. And that's the pickle that you have right now.
I understand what you're saying. However, I had made phone calls to Motor Vehicle, and they actually put me through to their legal department, and I couldn't get anything on paper.
When did you do all that?
Excuse me?
When did you do that?
That was just a couple of days ago.
Right. And what happened when you called them?
They told me that a 16, 17-year-old could purchase a bike from a private owner.
He can do whatever he wants. The problem is that he now wants out of that contract.
Okay.
And that's where you're going to have a problem. He's not going to have a problem. He can do whatever he wants. The person who's going to have a problem is you or whoever else contracts with a 17-year-old. Okay? He wants me to look at this and say, Judge, this is completely unenforceable and I want my money back. And he's right. I have no choice. $2,100, verdict for the plaintiff. Now we have a problem. That bike is 2 hours away from you. The onus is going to be on you to get that bike. That bike belongs to you because you're going to have to return the money. I'm going to give you 20 days. Is that long enough for you to get out there and pick up the bike? And if you don't, I'm going to give you a time limit. If you don't pick it up, then you're not picking it up. It's yours. So I want to give you a time limit that's fair. How long do you need?
That will be fine.
That's fine. We're going to 20 days from today make arrangements for you at your cost to pick up the bike because they're not going to have a cost. It's going to be at your cost to pick up the bike from their place. Do not touch that bike. Don't drive that bike. What did you want to ask me?
I'm wondering if he could also get his fees back.
Yeah, court fee. You always get your court fees when you win a court case. Okay?
Thank you.
Good luck, folks.
Thank you.
Well, the defendant coming out of the courtroom made a big mistake selling that motorcycle to a minor. What's your reaction to this verdict and the legality?
I didn't see anything wrong with selling a bike to a 17-year-old, and
The law does, though.
yeah, I wasn't aware of that law. I'm not happy with how things turned out, but it is what it is.
Okay, if you had sold it to the adult, that would have been a better move. Then they could have transferred title at some point. You understand that?
Yeah, well, like I said, he was there accompanied by his older brother, and
His name should have been on the title. What about picking it up? You're on your way out there to pick that thing up and ride it home?
Well, it won't be today, and hope in the condition that I gave it to them, and I should be able to ride it home.
All right, good luck. Right down this way. You step out and you come on in here and tell me, young man, the judge bails you out. How you feeling here?
I'm just glad all this is over with. I mean, it's been going on for a few months, so.
Okay, what have you learned?
Don't buy things on impulse.
Impulse, though? Okay, your chance. Go ahead, let him have it. On behalf of all of us parents.
He's a good kid. He made a mistake and he learned from it.
Oh, got a good mom. Harvey?
You know, we talk about this all the time about signing contracts with minors. The fact is that, you know, if you're buying bubble gum or whatnot, it doesn't matter. But if there's a significant purchase and you are the seller, never, ever make a deal with somebody without having the parent or guardian sign off, because in almost every state, a minor can disavow a contract. So no matter how convincing the minor is that the parent says it's okay, get the parent or guardian to sign or you're going to be in a heap of trouble.